Afamefuna. Sir? We are investigating the death of one.
The first thing that Kanayo should have done in this film is to sacrifice his daughter in exchange for building materials. Because, I don't understand what she's doing in this film.
I make sacrifices.
Plus, why is she white? Why is she white? Well, almost white at least, but why? Afamefuna is an Igbo language movie on Netflix, which centers around the mother of Polo, a businessman, and the police interrogation of his former friend and associate, Afam, which is how the story unravels. The movie is basically Afam going down memory lane about his apprenticeship to his master and his friendship with Polo, who was an older apprentice at the time. Boy is supposed to be a film about a murder investigation, but it really just ended up using 1 full hour of its 2-hour runtime being just a really simple documentary on the Igbo apprenticeship system. The film tries very hard to make the young Polo look like a shady character, but all I just saw was the hustling Igbo boy trying his best to serve his master. There are so many pointless scenes in the first hour that don't really build up to anything. They are just there to let us know that the writer knows all about the boy life. Imagine my surprise when Afam's voiceover narration shifts to the point of view of Kanayo, internally praising the virtues of the boy system within the first hour as if this were like an MBA class. They just couldn't wait to give us the essay instead of showing us in the story. Like, it was crazy. And how did Kanayo go from being a character in Afam's story to taking over the narration? Like, what's happening here, for God's sakes? Okay, back to the story. Now, Afam tells the policeman about his early life and the fact that Polo was dating the Oga's daughter, Amaka, then, but Afam ended up marrying her. Somehow, this catches Segun Arinze, the policeman, by surprise, and I found it unbelievable since he already knew so much about Afam, including having his account statements right there on the table. I was also quite impressed by Segun Arinze's command of both Hausa and Igbo. I thought it was really nice. Now, Segun Arinze also does this thing where he goes off to the side to make a phone call to update somebody on the case, and I had to wonder, who was he calling? Is it Very Dark Man or Instablog? Because I don't know why he just couldn't sit still till the interrogation was over. This person that he was talking to was never brought up again, so I don't really know what all that thing meant. In the course of Afam's service, his master's goods were seized for unknown reasons by custom, and honestly I have to say I was hoping that the movie would become finally interesting by having Kanayo sacrifice his daughter, one of the boys, to get it released, but nope. Afam, an apprentice, goes to the customs guy who looks like he has food in his mouth and sorts it out all very neatly. Like, it's very obvious that nobody involved in the making of this movie has ever been to the port before. We don't learn what happened to the goods or what the problem is, and this is really one of my biggest problems with Nigerian movies. You barely learn anything new or anything complex. Problems are just labels and dialogue, and they just easily disappear without you gaining a better understanding of that industry or of that craft. You just get the impression that the writer knows nothing about ports and didn't bother to ask anyone. In the movie's attempt at a plot twist, and in a way that it would never happen in real life, Afam is settled for his service before Polo, the elder apprentice, and even more incredulously, without any prior knowledge of the ceremony, for reasons unknown, despite his family from the village being present. Polo becomes embittered, of course, and soon absconds with some of his master's money from Amaka, the daughter, who is also a part-time decoration on the wall of this movie, and a full-time simp for Polo. Afam himself also simps after Amaka, so this whole thing just turns into a love triangle with 2 simps. Like, they barely share any character building scene together, so I don't know if it's this her irritating, dry heaving style of crying that aroused him to romance.
You're crying for that one. Paul.
Ugh. The girl herself has 0 reasons to fall in love with Afam, and it just looked like she was just following the money. Like, plus, why is she half white and can barely speak Igbo in the movie where everyone speaks Igbo fluently? Like, I felt like I was going crazy waiting for it to be explained. It's so distracting. Like, who is her father? It's obviously not Kanayo, and the mother is not nearly light-skinned enough. But why does nobody seem to notice this? Amaka agrees to marry Afam while she was still dating Polo, and we don't see Polo's reaction because apparently he just let it slide, which is impossible based on the character that we have been shown in this movie. Polo goes into business with some bad people and something happened and 300 million entered voicemail. They never explain it. They never explain what happened. They never explain how he was doing money laundry. It was just crazy. So anyway, he guilt trips Afam into paying it up for him in installments of like 5 million monthly because apparently Afam stole his destiny by being settled first and also took his woman. Why Afam actually feels guilt or agrees to this arrangement is completely beyond me. Like, this is a really strange movie where the antagonist is far more charismatic than the protagonist. Over time, Afam decides to stop being a victim, so the scriptwriter obviously had a fever dream one night and decided to ramp things up by having Polo reveal that he's the father of Afam's child, a fact that even Afam's wife didn't know. Afam confirms this via a DNA test, but then continues paying until he burns out and just tells the bad people he has been paying that he's no longer interested. This is effectively a death sentence on Polo, and that's pretty much how the movie ends. Somehow, the police are totally fine with this complicity in this murder and just let him go. Like, finito, the end. Like, at the end of it, I was just like, what? Like, this is surely one of the movies ever made. Like, that... So my thoughts about the movie. So while I like the idea of the story revealing an integral part of Igbo business culture, the movie was really frustrating for me because I kept waiting for it to get good. It has a really, really weak linear storyline with like zero plot twist, zero suspense, like nothing at all to keep you entertained. The central cause of conflict in the film, which is the settlement of Polo before Afam, is never resolved or explained, despite the fact that the film switches to Kanayo's perspective somewhere in the middle. So at least he could have used that opportunity to say this is why he did it, or the movie just goes downhill from there. The main character has zero character arc and no agency. He almost never happens to anything aside the vague customs problem. He was brought to Lagos by his mother. He was settled early by his boss through no fault of his. He proposed to the first girl he met. I mean, who does that? He paid blackmail money without complaining. He felt guilty for what he didn't do. He discovered his child wasn't his, and he just kept paying. Like, the villain, Polo, had far more character and importance in this story than Afam, the person that we are following. Amaka, the daughter and the wife of Afam, is just there to love and be loved, as we have no idea who she is as a human being. The policewoman interviewing Amaka was funny to me because it was like the director just looked outside and just asked a random woman to wear a uniform and come stand in front of a camera. Like, if you join this movie right in the middle, you would think she was Amaka's security aide instead of, interrogator. As far as this story goes, this is like a 1/5 for me. The editing was really shoddy. If you watch the movie, you understand, because sometimes you don't know what they are showing in relation to what. It was just quite bad. So that was just a 2/5 for me. The cinematography is 2/5 too. Nothing spectacular. But overall, I would rate the film a 2/5. It's just not that interesting. It was mostly like fan service to that Igbo Uma Boy system. So that's it for me for this review. I would like to actually know what you think, because I know this movie got a lot of buzz on Twitter, which was why I watched it, but I just couldn't see the appeal, except the fan service to the Igbo apprenticeship system. To be honest, watching this movie, I was pleased that the story was being told, because I knew some Uma boys growing up, but I was utterly ashamed at the story that was being used to tell it. Like, it was just so low quality, it just could have been better. So that's it from me for the review of Afamefuna and Uma Boy's story. If you like this review, I would like to hear your comments, like and subscribe, all that stuff. If you have any suggestion for me to review, you can drop it in the comment section too. Thanks.